York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Welcome to Keen on Sports episode 4. Yes, it's true. The Knicks have been eliminated. Suns are out, birds are chirping. It's a very beautiful day for the NBA. The Knicks are out and the refs can no longer give them any more series. We got Jungwoo joining us from Korea. Jungwoo, how's it going?
Thanks for bringing me on back on Sports on the Go.
Yes, sir. It's Sports on the Go was 4 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Such a long time ago. But it's definitely nice to have you back. A little bit of a reunion. But let's start with the East, bro. Knicks at home, game 7.
Yep.
Could not pull it out. Brunson fractures his hand. Josh Hart, abdominal strain. Mitchell Robinson was out for the playoffs. Bogdanovich was out for the playoffs. Basically, their entire team depleted. But,
Yep.
I'm very happy because, I'm a Sixers fan. Yes, sir. Rep the Sixers. And the Knicks, I hate. And I think it was about time that they got a taste of their own medicine. The refs couldn't save them yesterday. So I'm thrilled. But what were your overall thoughts on the series? Why do you think the Knicks lost?
I think injuries played a big part of the Knicks' failures. And also the fact that the Knicks were low-key getting a little too cocky. They were talking a little bit too much compared to what they actually had and like what they could
Understood.
perform with.
Yep.
And they claimed they wanted Boston, but they couldn't even beat the 6 seed Pacers. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Listen, bro, it's just delusion. Okay, I'm a Philadelphia 76ers fan. Okay,
Yep.
I suffer from delusion as well. All right, every year I think it's our year. It never is. But these Knicks
Hey,
fans,
trust the process. Trust the
listen,
process.
I'm still trusting the process, baby. I'm still trusting the process. Okay, I
It's
got my
been
boy.
7 years though.
Listen, a process. It takes time, bro. There's no time frame on a process. All right, so let's be patient. But the thing is this, bro. The Sixers were in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2001. You know who was there even later than that? The Knicks, bro. 2000. So technically, we're still more successful than the Knicks are. And they wanted to talk all this smack about Joel Embiid being a villain. Well, guess what? You just lost to Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner, bro. How does it feel? And they're outside of the arena chanting Knicks and 8. It's delusion, bro. It's delusion. The Knicks are delusional. Their fans are delusional. And it's about time. It's about time. The refs hand them a couple games. They got a beneficial whistle. Listen, it's good for the NBA when the Knicks are good. It's good for the NBA. This New York, big city, big media market. But at the same time,
A lot
I
of
don't want to see them
revenue
being handed
for the
games.
NBA.
So it's as simple as that. I don't like DiVincenzo. They called the Pacers. They want to act like tough guys. But guess what? Looks like they were the tough guys because who's in Cancun with Philadelphia right now? That's right, New York. Anyways, that's my little
With
spiel.
Philadelphia, that's good.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day. And I think if I'm looking at early predictions for the Celtics Pacers series, it's the number one and number two offensive teams in the NBA. So you can expect a lot of scoring. I think you're going to be seeing games where it's 110 plus. So it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah.
I think defense is not going to be as important in the series. I think who's going to be able to score the basketball more efficiently. I think the Celtics are going to win. I think it's going to be Celtics in 5. I think without Porzingis, the series can be 6. I think Celtics could deal with a little bit of trouble with Miles Turner's down low without the defensive Porzingis provides. I think it could be a 6 game series for the Celtics. But if Porzingis was healthy and could play at least 3, 4 games a series, I think it could be Celtics in 5. What are your thoughts?
For me, I'm not too knowledgeable about the East because my team, the Mavericks, they're based on the West, and I've been like looking at all the teams in the West and comparing like, what teams that I need to look
Yep,
out for. But as for the East, I know that compared to other years, it's a little bit more, how do I say it, less competitive than usual.
that's a very nice way of
And
putting
I
it.
know Celtics is a really good team, and I do have them winning in 7. The only reason I have them in 7 though is because how how unstable Jason Tatum can be in the playoffs. It's kind of like how Luka was in the series with the OKC Thunders, where he had some good days, but he also had some really bad off days. And the
Yep.
bad off days really affected the overall team's performance because he is the key player of the team.
Yep.
And also coming in from the series with the Knicks, where they just won in 7, where they came back from a 15-point deficit, right?
Yep.
I think like the energy that the Pacers got from that series and winning against the Knicks in 7, it's gonna really affect how they perform against the Celtics as well. Because
Yeah,
Celtics been resting for a while, so they might not be in tip-top conditioning
yeah,
compared to Pacers, where they just got off like a really like hard fight, and they're kind of determined to like make it past the next round too.
yeah. I mean, I think you look at that series. You're talking about the Celtics with, I think, a less experienced coach. I think Pacers have the advantage when it comes to coaching. I think Rick Carlisle is a really good
Yep.
coach. I think the Pacers are going to play hard. TJ McConnell, someone who I thought should not be getting any minutes, has somehow turned into, I don't know who you want to call him, Jamal Crawford, somehow playing
Somehow cop.
unbelievable
Yep.
minutes, helping the Pacers win. The Pacers will throw 10 guys at you. That's Rick Carlisle is not afraid to trust his players. The Knicks were ran into the ground. And you look at, they had 6 guys, 7 guys playing each game, 45 minutes plus, and they all got hurt. So you can't win a championship like that. And the Pacers played 10 guys. They were fresh. And now they're going to be even more fresh going into the run against the Celtics. And
Yeah.
the big question is Jason Tatum, right? What Jason Tatum are we getting? At his best, we saw him drop 50 in game 7 and against the Sixers last year. I don't want to talk about it, but it happened and he was unbelievable.
Yep.
But at the same time, you can see these games where he scores 15 to 20 points and he doesn't look that great. So I think that'll be a big factor in alongside of Porzingis' health in determining how long the
Yep.
series goes and who can win it. But I'm pretty confident. Like if the Celtics don't make it out of the East, that is the biggest failure this season by far. By far. I mean, they've got Miami without Butler. They got the Cavs without Mitchell for 2 or 3 games. And now they're playing the Pacers. I don't think it gets any easier than that. I mean, they're being spoon fed an NBA Finals
Yep.
appearance. There's no way they can miss it. You have to take this opportunity because they won't. Next year, the East will be better. Everyone will be better. The Knicks will be better. The Sixers will be better. The Bucks will be better. So this is their chance. This is their
That's
chance at a
true.
title. But like you said, transitioning to the West, you're a big Mavs fan. So congratulations to
Yes, sir.
Luka Magic. Mavs
Been
certainly.
been a Mavs fan since like 6, 7 years ago. I've been trusting the process like you were with the 76ers.
Well, and
You
the
know,
process has come through for you, so I'm hoping it comes through for me soon. But no, look, the Mavericks
Yep.
beat a really great team in OKC. I think in that series, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander proved himself to be a superstar. Down the stretch of that game, the shots he was hitting, it seemed like he was keeping OKC in the game single handedly. And obviously, the foul
He
at the end,
was.
it's tough. You don't want your season to end like that. That's a horrible way for your season to end. But the Thunder, I'm telling you right now, if they keep getting better, they're going to be NBA champions in 3, 4, 5 years, guaranteed. If it takes that long, they're a great team. They got a great coach. Thunder are unbelievable, honestly. But the Mavs found a way. Kyrie Irving was unbelievable. He's 14-0 in closeout games, which is out of this world. Luka Doncic and him have this. I don't even know what you call it. They're compatible, and they like playing with each other. And I think that's so important. It's sort of like what Kyrie and LeBron had, and I think that's sort of reminiscent of
Yep.
what we're seeing in Dallas with the right role players, Derrick Jones Jr., Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. All these players are stepping into the roles. And we have to remember, Tim Hardaway was hurt. Tim Hardaway was a non-factor this series, and they still managed to win 6. So if Tim Hardaway can get healthy, get right, it's another player they can throw at the Timberwolves. I think that's going to be a great series. Obviously, the Nuggets lost last night, blew a 20-point lead at home in Denver.
That was crazy.
I, I was hoping for the Timberwolves to win, but I think everyone could say it was a
Yeah.
surprise that the Nuggets lost. That's Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic are probably one of the best duos in the NBA. And the fact that they couldn't get the job done at home with a 20-point lead, 15. Let's put this in perspective. The Timberwolves overcame the largest halftime deficit in NBA history last night in a game 7 to win. I mean, that's
Yep.
unbelievable what they did. And it shows you that they're ready. They're ready for the moment. And with young teams, like, you worry that they're inexperienced. They're not ready for the bright lights. But Anthony Edwards had a terrible game. And guys like Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns all came through and won that game for them. Even Rudy Gobert with the
Did you?
fadeaway. The fadeaway.
Yeah, I was trying to mention that. Did you see that?
Bro, everyone saw it. It's all over. Like,
Yeah. I was seeing that
so
live and I
big.
was like, what? He was that type
Bro,
of
I
player?
had to
I
like
didn't know he was
adjust my
like nice
eyes.
like that.
I was like, is that KD I'm watching? Like, who is that, bro? Like, let me get this. Let me make sure I just saw what I saw for real. Like, am I hallucinating? Dude, Rudy Gobert was unbelievable. And that jumper, I'm pretty sure he couldn't make it 10 more times if he tried. But the fact of the matter is, it went in. They're going to the Western Conference Finals. What are your thoughts on the series? Who's the favorite, if there is one? And how many
Yep.
games do you think this is gonna go?
So let me just point out that the Timberwolves, they're a really scary team. You saw them just beat the Nuggets in a game seven, overcoming a 20-point like deficit. And Anthony Edwards, one of the key players on the team, was having a bad game too. And that just shows you how like good the team is. And also we gotta put in the fact that they're a really good team defensively. And the way they play, they focus a lot on defense and then transitioning the defense into offense.
Yep,
And so what I'm thinking right now in terms of how the playoff series is going to turn out, realistically, I think Timberwolves is going to win. Realistically, probably in seven. But some part of me is hoping that the Mavs will come through, just like how they did for the round one and round two of the playoffs. Because the thing about the Mavericks is they're a really doubted team. Like it's only been like a few months since the whole squad was assembled, and I understand that from an analyst perspective, that it's kind of like a risky bet to bet on the Mavericks winning the series.
yep.
But I was going through some of the Instagram comments and like the YouTube video comments about like the predictions for maybe the Timberwolves versus the Mavericks. And I saw a lot of comments saying the Timberwolves were going to win. But let me just point out to you that that's what happened for round one and round two with the Clippers and OKC. And the Mavs won out in what, six games?
Talk
Both
your talk.
times?
Talk your talk. Listen,
And I'm just going to point
yeah,
out that I think the biggest X factor in this series will be how Luka performs.
I agree
Like like I like I said a while ago about like how Luka performs really impacts how the overall team performs for the Mavericks.
for sure.
Because we saw against the series against OKC where when Luka was having off days, we were basically losing. We lost all the matches where Luka had a bad day. But
Yeah,
on the conversely, when he had a good game, we won that match. And that was against the OKC team where
yeah,
SGA was basically the best player of the series. Like no questions asked about that.
yeah, for sure.
So I think the biggest X factor is how Luka performs. And but realistically, I think Timberwolves would does have an advantage over the Mavericks.
I think when you look at the
Yeah,
series, bro, I think you're right. I think Luka Doncic needs to be the best player in the series. He has to be. It's sort of like, and I'm telling you, it reminds me of these days in Cleveland, like where Luka and sorry, LeBron and Kyrie, bro. Like Luka needs to be in this series. He needs to have 29, 10, and 10. Like that needs to be a stat line. He needs to do a little bit of everything for this team. I think the
yep,
Timberwolves are the better team. They're the better team. I think they have the better roster. They have better players. But the Mavericks have the best player at his best. And I think that's all it takes. It's all it takes sometimes. I mean, those years with Golden State and Cleveland, LeBron James was the best player in those series. Every series against the Golden State Warriors, right? But the Warriors had the better team. That's as simple as that. And so I think
yep,
Luka needs, and I think if the Mavericks somehow find a way to get out of this and beat the Timberwolves and they play the Celtics, it's sort of going to be that similar situation. You're looking at a Celtics Mav series that kind of looks like Cavs and Warriors when Cavs really had no business winning that series, down 3-1. You know, the Celtics are definitely the better team, in my opinion. There's no
yep.
reason the Celtics should lose, but they can lose because Luka Doncic is that man. Yeah, he's a bad guy. I mean, he's unbelievable. When he's at his best, Luka Doncic is crazy. And so I have to go Timberwolves in seven, but at the same time, it,
Yep.
Luka
With the same
Doncic can have
prediction.
one game. All
Yep.
it takes is one big game seven. And if he can do that with Kyrie Irving and close out games where he's unbelievable, I could easily see the Mavs winning the series. I mean, I don't remember the last time I've seen a series this close. I mean, Sixers Knicks this year was close, I think. I mean, extremely close. Like the final total of points was separated by like 3 or something. Like that's how close the series was.
Three?
But in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of looking at two teams who I have no idea who's going to win, it's the series. I have no idea who's going to win the series. It's a toss up.
This is a hard one.
I'm looking forward to it. I think Anthony Edwards is going to show up. Anthony Edwards is amazing. I'm honestly I'm about to order an Anthony Edwards shirt. He's unbelievable. I love Anthony Edwards. I love how he talks. He talks all game. You know, he puts up 7 to the crowd. You know, he's waving them goodbye. Like I love that villain. I love it. Anthony Edwards is, and there's getting all these comparisons to Michael Jordan, which obviously
Oh
it's a
yeah,
little
Michael Jordan.
it's a little
Yeah,
premature.
I've been seeing them too.
It's a little
Yo,
premature, but I mean, he has that instinct. He has that killer instinct. You know, Anthony Edwards, he he's undeniable. You know, when he wants to do something, he just does it. You know, and there was all this talk when he was coming out of college, like, oh, he doesn't love basketball. You know, he doesn't have the same motor. Looks to me that he loves basketball. I mean, if this is a guy who doesn't love basketball, I mean, how good is he for not loving basketball? It's unbelievable. It's a guy who eats Popeyes after every game. Like Anthony Edwards is, other than Victor Wembanyama, in my opinion, is probably going to be the second face of the league. You know, when Durant, LeBron, Curry are all out of it, you're looking at Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Maxey, of course. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe not Tyrese Maxey, but at least
Tyrese Maxey.
Wembanyama. Maxey was unbelievable.
That's a little bit
For
of stretch. Tyrese Maxey.
listen,
I mean, he's on the come up though. He's on the come
he
up.
is. Maxey was unbelievable. But yeah, I got to go Timberwolves in 7, and then I think if you're looking at NBA Finals matchup between this
Yeah.
Celtics Timberwolves, that's a tough series. And I think the Celtics. My concern with the Celtics is there's a lack of mental toughness. I just
Yeah.
they have these games where they shoot the 3 horribly, and they don't find a way to win. Like it's like almost as if they make a lot of threes, they're gonna win. If they don't, they lose. It's as simple as that. I mean, I'm terrible at math, but it's a simple formula, right? If you shoot under 40%
Yeah.
from 3, it looks like you're gonna lose. If they shoot over 40, they're winning, guaranteed. So I don't know if you can beat the Timberwolves like that. They're gonna play tough defense. Even the Mavericks, who defensively aren't as great, but they play a tough brand of basketball. Jason Kidd's a great coach. They had offensive rebound. I think the Celtics right now, if I'd be worried about the Mavs or the Timberwolves. But I think both teams. I think the West is going to win the finals. It matters. It depends on who
Yeah.
gets out of it, in my opinion. But which team would it be the biggest failure for if they did not win the championship this season?
I think it'll have to be the Celtics.
I agree with that.
The biggest failure.
I mean, 62
I mean,
wins,
the
right?
Celtics. How many playoffs has the Celtics been and haven't achieved anything to the
Yeah.
NBA Finals?
Well,
So many.
yeah,
I mean, all my years in high school, they made it to like the Eastern Conference Finals, the NBA Finals,
6
I
out of the
think.
last 8 years they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. 6 out of the last.
Eastern Conference Finals,
It's
and they
time.
haven't achieved anything.
Nope. I think it's time for the Celtics, bro. They lost against the Warriors in 6 back when Curry got his ring without KD after KD left.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I think if you don't win this year, it's as good of an opportunity as ever. The
Yeah.
Nuggets are out. I was honestly betting on the Nuggets to go back to back. I thought the Nuggets looked unbeatable. I mean, they have the perfect
I think
formula.
the same thing too.
I mean, they have the perfect formula of a team with Jokic and Murray, and then Gordon, Porter Jr. Like I think their bench was weak. That's why they lost. The Nuggets did not have a bench with Christian Brown and Hayden Watson and Reggie Jackson. Like they
Yeah,
were
their
just
depth lacked compared to last year,
huge,
for sure.
huge. So I think that's why they lost. So I think the Celtics, if you don't win this year, real questions are going to be asked about: can you win with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? When the lights get brightest, can you win with this setup? And the thing is, if Porzingis is healthy and you don't win, I mean, what more do you need? Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Name another starting
They
5.
have the talent.
Yeah, 100%.
They're just not making any progress with it, if
It's
you know
mental
what I mean.
toughness and coaching. I promise you, if you put Nick Nurse on the Celtics, they're winning a title.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You put Eric Spoelstra coaching the Celtics, they're winning a title guaranteed. I think Joe Mazzulla, if they don't get the job done, if they don't win the championship this year, if I'm the general manager, if I'm Brad Stevens, I'm firing Joe Mazzulla. I'm firing Joe Mazzulla. I don't think Joe Mazzulla, there's plenty of coaches out
Yeah.
there better than Joe Mazzulla, in my opinion.
And who'd you replace Joe Mazzulla with
I,
if they
I don't
don't win
know.
a championship this year? Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. But there's coaches out there. There are so many coaches that will either lose their
Yeah.
job after the season. I mean, look at Frank Vogel. He lost his job because the Suns couldn't win a single playoff game with Bradley Beal, Durant, and Booker. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think Frank Vogel is a better coach than Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a championship winner. Joe Mazzulla is not a championship winning coach. You know, we haven't seen him do it. I mean, they went down last year 3-0 against the Heat. The Heat. And then they ended up going to game 7 to lose at home. Like, Joe Mazzulla, the only reason they're this good is because of the players they have, right? When it comes to coaching, he's going to have to
Yeah.
prove to me in a tough series in the finals when it's coach against coach, 5-point game, final 5 minutes, you call a timeout. What player are you going to drop? You know, what are you saying in the huddle? What lineups are you using? What rotations are you using? What guys off the bench are coming in? These are all questions you have to answer as a coach. So Joe Mazzulla,
Mm.
his back is going to be against the wall if they do not win the title this season. And I think it's deservedly so. He cannot afford not to win the title. He just can't. Ime Udoka took them to the championship. First year coaching. He went to Houston. Houston almost beat out the Warriors for a playing spot. Okay. And nobody expected Houston to be decent, bro. So
Yeah.
that's left to be determined. But the last question for you is which player so far in these
Yeah.
playoffs has proven that they are reaching superstar status? No, I'm not talking about Jokic or any of these stars that have been around, Jason Tatum. I'm talking about players who their
Yeah.
first playoff run, whether they already went home, whether they're still in the playoffs. Which player has had basically the best postseason so far? Who made a name for themselves that's gonna truly build on in the coming years to come?
So I'm gonna give a player on my team because I know best about my team and their players, right?
Yeah,
Like if I had to pick like a completely new person, it'll definitely be PJ Washington because he stepped up this playoff series and he's basically now the like third option for a Mavs team where we
yeah,
didn't even have a third option. He kind of solidified himself as the backup option that we need when Luka and Kyrie aren't feeling themselves, you know.
yeah,
And he stepped up for the games where we had like close combats with Thunder, and he was basically arguably he was one of the better players in the series.
yeah.
But in terms of like a a player that I think kind of shown themselves again that might not be new, but like again, it would be Kyrie. I think he proved himself this playoffs that he's still a great player
Yeah.
and like he still has a lot of steam in his tank, right?
Yeah.
And then he can also contribute a lot to like a playoff team.
Yeah. I think Kyrie's name was kind of rubbed in the mud in Brooklyn. I think it
And
deservedly
Celtics as
so.
well.
I mean, Celtics,
Yeah.
like, he wasn't playing, like COVID happened, he just was missing games. Like, people had questions, and I think they had good reason to have questions, but he's proven people wrong, and
Yeah.
he's playing phenomenal. I think overall, if you're talking about playoffs overall, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a toss up for me between SGA and Jalen Brunson. I both those players just balled
SJ.
out, balled out. SGA and Jalen Brunson were unbelievable. Jalen Brunson cooked my team after two terrible game one and two. Cooked my team, and then Clay had a really great series against the Pacers for the most part. So I think
Yeah.
he was unbelievable, and I never thought he could be this good. And then SGA, I mean, that game against the Mavericks, I'm
I didn't know he
watching,
was nice like that. Yeah.
dude, step backs, the Jamidi, the composure. I mean, you watch him, or whenever he hits a big shot, his face is unfazed. He keeps the same facial
Yeah.
expression. I love the composure. I love SGA. I think he is the Clippers trading him away for Paul George. Huge mistake. SGA is going to be great for such a long time. He should have won MVP this year. He got robbed, but
I don't know about that. I think Jokic was definitely the clear-cut MVP.
Jokic was good.
And then if you only look at the regular season, it wa- it was a battle between Luka and Jokic. I think SGA should have been third
Bro,
if we
SGA
only
was
look at the
number one in
regular
the
season.
West. SGA finished above Jokic in the West. That's the thing. Jokic was number two. SGA was number one. And he took a young team that nobody expected
Yep.
to be the number one seed. I mean, think about that. The Nuggets were back-to-back champs. They were expected to be this good, right? But SGA, out of nowhere, like, how many guys can you put in SGA's spot and see if the Thunder are that good? There's not a lot, right? SGA is, I
There's
mean,
not a lot for sure.
you put Kyrie in that spot. Are the Thunder going to be that good? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Kyrie is not a good first option. Kyrie
Well,
is definitely not a good first
my
option,
point
but
is just the guards
yep.
available. There's just not that many you can put in and plug in. And SGA with that composure, that age, he was unbelievable. I thought if the Thunder were gonna win, it was gonna be because of him. That series,
Yep.
that game, that foul was so tough because if that ball gets loose, it's not a foul.
Yep.
Because PJ Washington was able to hold on to it, that's why they had to call the foul. But if that ball comes loose,
Yep.
hand contact doesn't matter. So it could have changed so
And the
quickly.
Mavs would have lost. Yep.
Well, yeah, if the ball came loose, they would have lost. But then we all saw
Yep.
Kyrie Irving, had the foul not even been called, Irving was right there to put it back in. But again, that series could have gone either way. And so SGA, I love. Jalen Brunson was a hate because of what he did to me, but had a great playoffs. I think the league is starting to hit a turning point, with old players not doing. I mean, Kevin Durant was swept. LeBron James lost in 5. Curry missed
Yep.
the playoffs. I mean, it's a changing of the guard. Wembanyama is on the come up. I mean, he was an alien this year, bro, and he's going to be unbelievable during his career. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year, to be honest. But anyways, it's a different conversation. But Anthony Edwards on the come up. Tyrese Maxey on the come up. Tyrese Halliburton was unbelievable in Game 7. He was on a flamethrower in the first half. His form is whack, but he makes everything. It was crazy. So I think we're in for a really good Eastern and Western Conference Finals. I'm gonna take the Celtics in 5 or 6. I'm gonna take Celtics in 6. I'll take the Celtics in 6, and I'll take the Timberwolves in 7. What are your final predictions?
I'll go with Celtics in 7. And actually, Timberwolves in 7. And then if the Timberwolves and Celtics go against each other, probably Timberwolves in 6.
I'm gonna go T-Wolves in. I'm gonna go T-Wolves in 7. I'm gonna go T-Wolves in 7. Anthony Edwards
7.
goes to Boston, rips the hearts out of all these
Yeah.
Boston Celtics fans. But listen, June, it was a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, I can have you again soon. We'll definitely get back on
Yep.
after these conference finals, maybe midway through after they finish up, and see how they're progressing. But again, it was a pleasure having you, and hope to have you back on soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, sir. See you guys next time.